Hello medicos. In this video, I will try to explain you about the inguinal hernia. What is the causes of inguinal hernia? What is the classification of inguinal hernia according to localization, according to types, according to complexity. Also, what sign and symptom you will see in the case of inguinal hernia. And I will also explain what is the difference between the direct inguinal hernia and indirect inguinal hernia. And lastly, I will try to explain you about diagnosis and treatment of the inguinal hernia. So now start the inguinal hernia. Inguinal hernia is a protrusion of abdominal cavity content through the inguinal canal. In femoral hernia, I discussed that it is occur in the femoral canal, but inguinal hernia occur in the region of the inguinal canal. This is the inguinal canal. In this region, herniation occur, so it is called inguinal hernia. Here you will see this is the inguinal hernia, and the below the inguinal ligament, the line is called it is called femoral hernia. So if you didn't watch the video of femoral hernia and basic knowledge of hernia, so first of all try to watch the femoral hernia and basic of hernia, so you will differentiate between the inguinal hernia and femoral hernia. So it is a protrusion of the abdominal cavity content through the inguinal canal. Mostly this hernia occur in the male. Here this hernia occur in the male, but I discussed that femoral hernia occur mostly in the female because of large pelvic region and multiple pregnancy. But this is mostly occur in the male. Why this occur in the male? Because they have large opening and therefore much weaker wall through which intestinal may protrude in these cases. So it is more common in the male, but femoral hernia more common in the female. In case of the female, inguinal hernia not occur because opening of superficial inguinal ring is small, so no protrusion occur in these cases, and so it is not common in female, only common in the male, but femoral hernia more common in the female. So this is different between also inguinal hernia and femoral hernia. I will discuss last of the video what is the difference you will see in the inguinal and femoral hernia also. What is the causes of inguinal hernia? Causes of inguinal hernia is the obesity. Pregnancy also causes the inguinal hernia, but it is very less because most of the cases in case of pregnancy it causes the femoral hernia because large pelvic size and multiple pregnancy which causes the femoral hernia. So it is a very less cases it causes the inguinal hernia. Chronic obstruction also causes hereditary disease because sometimes it may be congenital disease, so hereditary, and also idiopathic. Some causes are unknown because some said high lifting, heavy lifting also causes the inguinal hernia. Some said it not causes the inguinal hernia. So sometimes it is a idiopathic, means unknown causes. Pulmonary disease, peritoneal dialosis also causes the inguinal hernia. Smoking, large smoking, so it also causes the inguinal hernia. Connective tissue disease, post appendectomy, after the appendectomy it also causes the inguinal hernia because weakening on this region, it right region and left region, so it may causes the inguinal hernia. So post appendectomy and chronic coughing also causes the inguinal hernia. So these are the causes of inguinal hernia. Most causes the obesity, chronic obstruction, hereditary, and the post appendectomy and chronic coughing. These are the main causes of the inguinal hernia. Sometimes in examination you also need to know about the canals, boundary of the inguinal canal. This is the inguinal canal, so you need to know about the boundaries of inguinal canal. So I will try to explain boundary. It's anteriorly. When you will see the inguinal canal anteriorly, its boundary is the anteriorly. Its boundary, it is a external oblique muscle. When you will see the anteriorly, then it is a external plus internal oblique muscles. External plus internal oblique muscles. It is anteriorly. Posteriorly, when you will see the canal, then it's posteriorly bounded by the transversalis fascia. Transversalis fascia, also fascia, and also sometimes tendons, also conjoint tendons also formed. So conjoint tendons posteriorly. When you will see the roof of the inguinal canal is formed by the arching fibers of internal oblique muscles. Internal oblique muscle, here is the internal oblique muscle, and also transverse abdominalis muscles. So it's formed by the internal oblique muscles and transverse abdominal muscles. This is formed by the roof of the inguinal canal, and the floor of the inguinal canal is formed by the inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament, this form the floor of inguinal canal. So you need to know anterior border, posterior border, roof and floor of the inguinal canal which form. So this is the floor which is formed by the inguinal ligament. When you will see the roof of the inguinal canal, when you will see roof of the canal, then it formed by the muscles. This is formed by the transverse abdominalis muscles and also internal oblique muscles which form the, when you will see the muscles structure, then you will see the this form the roof of the this, and anteriorly it is formed by the external and internally oblique muscles anteriorly when you will see, and posteriorly when you will see, then it will be formed by the transversalis fascia and conjoint tendon which form the boundary of the inguinal canal. So this is the boundary of the inguinal canal. When you need, you will learn this. It's also important like femoral canal. Classification of the inguinal canal. There are different classification for the inguinal canal on the basis of different like localization, according to type, according to complexity. First of all, according to localization. According to localization, it may be unilateral or bilateral. Means when the inguinal hernia occur only one sides, then it's called unilateral. When it occur both sides, then it's called bilateral. So it may be unilateral or may be bilateral. This is on the basis of localization. According to type, it may be direct inguinal hernia or indirect oblique inguinal hernia. When direct inguinal hernia and oblique inguinal hernia. And oblique inguinal hernia also divided in two parts, congenital and acquired. Means from the its weakening occur from the congenitally. So it's called congenital, and acquired after the age. It may occur in the it's made due to the weakening of any area due to the high lifting, also sometimes any disease, also post appendectomy. It's called acquired type. So this may be congenital or acquired according to types. It may be direct or oblique. According to complexity, it may be simple types. It may be transitive to the different position also form, and the complexity, when complication occur, also strangulation occur, when irreducible occur. So it's also causes the complexity of the hernia. According to course, it may be uncomplicated and complicated. Uncomplicated may be reducible and irreducible. What is reducible and what is irreducible? Reducible means when you will try to push this hernia, when hernia occur and you will try to push the hernia, then it will go inside, pushed back into the abdomen by applying pressure. It's called reducible. When it is not pushed back into the applying pressure into the abdomen, then it is called irreducible. So push back into abdomen when applying pressure, it's called reducible, and when not pushed back, it's called irreducible type of the hernia. And it may be complicated like strangulated, coprostasis, inflammation occur. Strangulated, what is strangulated? Strangulated means like blood supply to the hernial content is cut off. There is no any blood supply into the hernial content, and so leads to ischemia formation occur. It's called strangulated. So please learn what is the strangulated means. Its blood supply of the hernia is stopped, and which cause the ischemia in those region. It's called strangulated. Reducible means it's go when we will try to push this in the region of abdominal by applying pressure, it's go back inside, and irreducible, it not go back inside. So this is on the according to course. It may be uncomplicated, reducible or irreducible, and complicated like strangulated, coprostasis and inflammation. This about the classification of the hernia. Now I will discuss about the symptoms of the hernia and what is difference between direct and indirect inguinal hernia. So difference between the direct inguinal hernia and indirect inguinal hernia. What you will see the difference between the direct and indirect inguinal hernia. Direct inguinal hernia, first of all, it is acquired and common in the older age. This is the acquired type of inguinal hernia and most common in case of the older age. But indirect type of inguinal hernia, it may be congenital or acquired. Means both type, it may be congenital or acquired, but direct is mostly acquired type, and it common in the younger age. Indirect hernia you will mostly seen in the younger age patient, but or babies also. But in direct hernia you will see mostly in case of the older age patient. In these cases of direct inguinal hernia, sac is posterior to the spermatic cord. When you will see in the male patient, then you will see the sac is posterior to the spermatic cord. But in the indirect inguinal hernia, you will see the anterolateral to the spermatic cord. Here you will see the sac of the hernia, protrusion of the protrusion, because I already discussed hernia always contain three parts: content, sac, and the covering. So its sac of the hernia, it's contain anterolateral to the spermatic cord. This is the anterolateral to the spermatic cord in the indirect inguinal hernia. But in the direct inguinal hernia, you will see the posteriorly, you will see posterior part, means sac is posterior to the spermatic cord. You will see in case in the direct inguinal posteriorly, it's not visible from anterior part, it's present on the posterior position. So this is different, it's present in the posterior part of spermatic cord, but indirect inguinal hernia present in the anterolateral to the spermatic cord. Direct inguinal hernia cannot descend into the scrotum. Here you will not see the till the scrotum it doesn't reach till the scrotum. But indirect inguinal hernia descend into the scrotum, it reaches till the scrotal region. So this is also difference between direct and indirect inguinal hernia. It can't descend into the scrotum, it is a direct inguinal hernia, and indirect is descend into the scrotum. This is the difference. Fourth difference is the present medial to the inferior epigastric region vessels. It's very important difference between the direct indirect inguinal hernia. It's present medial to the inferior epigastric vessels. Here you will see the inferior epigastric vessels. In the inferior epigastric vessels, you will see that it is present. Direct inguinal hernia present is the medial to the inferior epigastric muscle. This is the direct inguinal hernia, and this is present medial to the inferior epigastric muscles, this hernia. But in the indirect inguinal hernia, this is present in the lateral epigastric muscle. This is the vessels, inferior epigastric vessel. This is also inferior epigastric vessels, but direct inguinal hernia present medial to the inferior epigastric muscles, medially part, and the indirect inguinal hernia present in the lateral to the epigastric muscle. So this is difference between the direct and indirect type of the inguinal hernia. Also it is not controlled after reduction by pressing over the inguinal region. So it's not control after reduction, but it is the control after reduction. This is also difference between the direct and indirect. Also protrusion not passes through the deep inguinal ring. It's also very important difference. Protrusion not passes the deep inguinal ring. Here you will see that this is the deep inguinal ring, this is the superficial inguinal ring. In these cases also, this is the superficial inguinal ring, this is the deep inguinal ring. Here you will see there is no passage of this protrusion into the deep inguinal ring. So it is a direct inguinal hernia. But when passes through the deep inguinal ring, then it's called indirect inguinal hernia. So protrusion passes through the deep inguinal ring, it is called indirect inguinal hernia, because here you will see the also passes through the deep inguinal ring. But in these cases there is no involvement of deep inguinal ring, so it is a direct inguinal hernia. This is the also difference between direct and indirect. And also in the direct inguinal hernia, you will see weakened posterior wall. Posterior wall mostly weakened in case of the direct inguinal hernia, and indirect inguinal hernia weaken mostly anterior wall. So in these cases anterior wall most weakened, but in case of direct inguinal hernia posterior wall. So this is the difference between the direct and indirect inguinal hernia you need to know. This is main difference: medial to the epigastric, protrusion not passes the deep in, and also sac is posterior to the spermatic cord. This is the main difference between the direct and indirect inguinal hernia. It's also important, what is the most common type of inguinal hernia is the indirect is most common as compared to the direct. And indirect also it is mostly occur in the younger patient, more common in the younger patient. So indirect hernia is the more common as compared to the direct inguinal hernia. What is that symptoms? So it's you also understand this diagram with the help of the difference of the direct and indirect inguinal hernia. What is the symptoms you will see in the patient of the inguinal hernia? You will see the bulging of the groin region. In the groin region you will see the bulging you will see in the groin area. Also lumpy you will see here, you will see the bulging of in the region of inguinal area, bulging occur, and also lumpy appearance. You will see this is a lumpy appearance occur. So this is the lumpy appearance. When you will touch this area, then patient feel pain. So pain during the cuffing, you will see pain during coughing and running also. When patient running and coughing, then it's occur the pain in this area, then you will also, it's called coughing sign. It's important, coughing push sign, it's also important. I will also write sign and symptoms. Symptoms and sign. What sign you will see in the case of the inguinal hernia? So coughing push sign. See, coughing push sign, this is important sign. I already discussed in the also in case of the femoral hernia. So when you say to the patient to cough, try to coughing, and when you will touch in this groin area or in the region of inguinal area, then patient feel the pain due to the its push back, hand push back in this region. This is called coughing push sign. So this is positive sign in case also in the inguinal hernia, also in case of the femoral hernia. So the coughing push sign is the also visible in case of the inguinal hernia, and pain during coughing and running. Intestinal obstruction also occur, and constipation, ischemia, gangrene. This is the complication of inguinal hernia, like intestinal obstruction, ischemia, gangrene. So this is a type of complication of the inguinal hernia. So this symptom you will see in case of the patient of the inguinal hernia. What is the diagnosis? Because it's also important. When you will see this is a direct, indirect inguinal hernia, when you will see the symptoms of inguinal hernia, then what you will see the diagnosis method. Then you will see the diagnosis method. First of all, physical examination. You will try to physically examine what it is a inguinal hernia or femoral hernia, because sometimes you will not see. So when you will see the this is region in the inguinal ligament, in the inguinal region or inguinal canal, then it is a definitely inguinal hernia. But when the protrusion occur in the region of femoral canal or femoral triangle, in the femoral region below the inguinal line, then it is a femoral hernia. So first of all, by the help of physical examination, you will try to examine the patient by physical examination. Then after clinical examination, in the case of clinical examination, when you will see the patient, then femoral hernia present below and lateral to the pubic tubercle. The femoral hernia present below and lateral to the pubic tubercle. But when you will see the inguinal hernia, then it is above and medial to the pubic tubercle. So this is a clinical examination. In the inguinal hernia, it is present above and medial to the pubic tubercle, but femoral hernia present below and the lateral to the pubic tubercle. This is the main difference. By clinical method you will differentiate between the inguinal hernia and femoral hernia. Third is the, when you will not examine this by externally or clinical examination, then you will try to do ultrasound, MRI and CT scan for the diagnosis of the hernia. So this method you will see later. When you will not able to diagnose with the physical or clinical examination, then you will also do the ultrasound, MRI and CT scan for the diagnosis of the inguinal hernia. Now what is the treatment of the inguinal hernia? Because it is not only surgery we will use for the treatment of the inguinal hernia, not conservative method used for the treatment of inguinal or femoral type of hernia, because in these cases we need to surgery. Mostly in case of the hernia we need to the surgical process. So we will try to laparoscopic or laparotomic process. Laparoscopic process, it is a incision occur in the position of the abdomen in different position, means multiple incision we need to in case of the laparoscopic process. So multiple incision in the abdominal region, multiple incision in case of the laparoscopic process. But in case of the laparotomy, or it's also called open surgery, in case of open surgery only one incision occur only in case of in region of inguinal region. Incision occur in the inguinal region. Here you will see this is the laparoscopic method of the incision. This is the laparotomy or also open inguinal hernial surgery. In these cases you will see here this is the different incision occur. This line you will see this is different incision occur, different position incision occur, because multiple incision required for in case of the laparoscopic. Small multiple incision occur. So you will see this type of incision occur in case of the laparoscopic surgery of the hernia. In this, mesh placement covering of hernial defect and surrounding prevent, and in these cases you will see the dissection of the region inguinal and exposing the hernial defect. In case of this is called laparoscopic surgery. But in case of laparotomy or open surgery, one incision, you will see the one incision occur in case in the region of the inguinal region, in the region of inguinal canal above this. So here you will see the open type of surgery, hernia protruding through the inguinal canal. This is the hernia which protrude through the inguinal canal, and here you will see the removal of hernia and also reinforce the suture in the place of tension free. So this in these cases hernia reduced and the inguinal fold repaired and reinforced in this region. So this is called open type of the surgery, but in this is called laparoscopic surgery. This is called laparotomic surgery. This is the difference between the laparoscopic and laparotomy surgery used in case of the treatment of the inguinal hernia. Also many different on the basis of scientist method also, like in the femoral hernia I discussed the Rauff method and also Bassini method. So Bassini method also used in case of the inguinal hernia surgery. So mostly in the case of, we will say that laparoscopic and laparotomy surgery we need to the for the treatment of the inguinal hernia. Now I will try to explain you about what is the difference between the femoral hernia, how you differentiate this hernia is femoral or inguinal hernia. So first of all, femoral hernia more common in case of the female, but inguinal hernia more common in the male. First is the difference between the inguinal and femoral hernia. Second is the femoral hernia, mostly femoral hernia occur in the femoral canal, but inguinal hernia occur in the inguinal canal. I already discussed there the boundary of the inguinal canal and femoral canal both in the region of femoral triangle. Here you will see the femoral triangle in the region of the femoral triangle, which is this canal is formed in case of the femoral hernia. Third difference is the, I already discussed in case of the diagnosis. This discussion I already discussed. What is the third difference? Third difference is the it's below and lateral to the pubic tubercle, lateral to the pubic tubercle. Femoral hernia is below and lateral to the pubic tubercle, but inguinal hernia is the above and medial to pubic tubercle. This is also difference between the tubercle. This is also difference between the femoral hernia and the inguinal hernia. This is because I already discussed femoral hernia below and lateral to the pubic tubercle, but inguinal hernia above and medial to the pubic tubercle. This is different. Also when you will try to explain difference, so also it's not be reducible. Femoral hernia mostly not reducible easily. It's not reducible easily, but inguinal hernia reducible easily, can be reduced. This is also difference between, but is not more different, need to learn. So it is the also difference between the femoral hernia and the inguinal hernia. Also you will see expansile cuffing impulse you will see in case of the inguinal hernia, but not you will see in the many cases you will not see in the do not have expansile cuffing impulse in the femoral hernia. So expansile cuff impulse you will see in the case of the inguinal hernia, but do not have expansile cuffing cuff impulse. So this is the difference between the inguinal hernia. First is the more common in female, this is the more common in male. It is occur in the femoral canal, this occur in the inguinal canal. Femoral hernia occur below and lateral to the pubic tubercle, but inguinal hernia occur above and medial to the pubic tubercle. Femoral hernia not reducible easily, but inguinal hernia can be reduced, and femoral hernia do not have expansile cuff impulse, but inguinal hernia has expansile cuff impulse. So this is the difference between the femoral hernia and the inguinal hernia. And also you need to learn about what is the difference between the direct inguinal hernia and the indirect inguinal hernia. So this is the all about the inguinal hernia. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you so much, doctor.